Alright, so another edition of the Hoback shop, I suppose. Just wanted to show y'all my office. It ain't much, it's just kind of in our bedroom, but it gets me by. It's my CAD cam station where I video edit, all that fun stuff. Just picked this up, a new PC up. It's a CyberPower PC. Pretty decent little machine. I really just needed something that was better than my old Asus laptop that I had to steal from my wife, and it was way underpowered for the stuff that I'm doing. So this new computer was damn expensive because it's a gaming computer, but it works really well for doing CAD cam. I'm not much of a gamer, so that's how she is. So it's some guys were asking specs and stuff on the stuff that I use. The CyberPower is, and forget the tape, my wife is a light sleeper, so I gotta tape off all the lights on things so that she doesn't wake up. It's a 2 terabyte hard drive, a 1 gig Radeon graphics card, a AMD 4-core processor. I think it's like 4 gigahertz processor, 8 or 16 gigs of RAM. I think it's 8 gigs of RAM. So it holds up pretty well. 24-inch LED monitor makes a huge difference compared to that little tiny laptop screen that I've been using. I love this thing. I'd like to get another one so I can maybe play some movies or something to the sides when I'm building programs, because it gets kind of boring. Cyborg Rat 3 gaming mouse. I got a gaming mouse because I wanted good tracking with the optical mouse, and also, oh, you can kind of see the laser. You can't see that by eye, but you can see it with the camera. That's kind of cool. Infrared or something. I needed the extra buttons for CAD, and then I've also got a 3D Connection Space Navigator. That thing's freaking cool. Took me a while to get used to it. Normally I just use the mouse to navigate or move objects in 3D space, but the Space Navigator, let me set up the tripod here, it's pretty cool. It's, for some reason, I gotta figure out why, it doesn't work in SprintCam unless I have a Libre open. I have no idea why that is. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to open this because I've got my hard drive uploading movies to you guys right now. But at any rate, if you guys check it out, if you guys do CAD cam, I really recommend the Space Navigator. It's got a couple extra buttons, which is always nice, and it gives you complete toggle control of movement, so you don't have to do it with the mouse. Normally you gotta click both buttons, or like in SprintCam you click the center button and you move your part in space. In a Libre you double click both buttons left and right, and then you move it kind of running around just like this, same way you do with the center button. It's kind of annoying. I like to be able to move. I switch these buttons over to do different things like backspace or shift. I actually use the Space Navigator for my shift because I use shift quite a bit in a Libre to highlight lines and things like that, and also in SprintCam. So yeah, nothing much. Crappy Kodak printer. Don't really use it much. My awesome sewing machine that I have not had time to do any tactical nylon work, but did a couple of belts, stuff like that. It's pretty fun. Trusty 1911 sits there, keeps things sane around here. Other than that, not much going on here in the office. I built the desk. I don't know, it's kind of disaster up here right now, but the desk was kind of fun. It was kind of old school looking. So yeah, alright, well, on to building knives, I suppose. Alright guys, so just got the lock side frames on these A8s done. Figured I'd show them off to you. I got one guy that's got the original style A10 Fuller. We have inlay, standard inlay like bolster lock look, little bit different, but it's going to add strength to the lock in general. I left the lock bar itself absent from the inlay, so the inlay will drop around it, and then this will be free. Turned out pretty cool. It's going to be a really lightweight knife. So we got 2 of those. I think one of them's getting some silver twill. I think Jason, Gatorbud, I think you're getting this one. The other one, gosh, I think it's lightning strike or carbon fiber, I'm not sure. This one though, this is the one I'm excited about. I'm going to put it so you can see it. That's my pocketed inlay. Which turned out killer. Very cool. I'm excited to get this one done. Cut out some, I don't know, I don't even know what's going in here. I don't know if it's jade or if it's carbon fiber, but cut out that and press it in, and it'll glue and press fit so it'll never come out. Super cool. Got 4 or 5 that are getting rounded handles, and then the other ones are plain finish. Don't get a lot of requests for plain finish, but I thought that was kind of cool, so that'll be nice. And I've showed you the back sides of them, but I'll show you again because this pocketing turned out really neat. Really lightens it up a bit and gets rid of some excess material that wasn't really necessary to be there. So you never really see it, but like I said, I want to offer the best tool on the face of the earth, so I do everything I can, and I'm never happy with just plain Jane, so I try to do everything I can. The lock inserts turned out great. I've got everything's out to heat treat now along with the blades, so we're good to go there. They should be back in a couple of weeks from Peter's heat treat. I'm going to start working on the non-lock side and the backspacers, and then switch over to A15s and run those real quick. So yeah, everything turned out pretty awesome. Got a couple of messed up lock inserts here, but I can show you kind of a close-up of them. Maybe. Light might be too harsh there. There we go. So I adjusted some coating on these, and they turned out a lot better. So yeah. Alright, so I just wanted to update you guys. Lock side frames are cleaned up for the most part until I get the back spacers and the non-lock side finished up. I actually recently just discovered something, actually by mistake, and I'll be the first to admit that. But I figured out something that actually worked pretty good. So as far as I know, I'm the only one that's ever done this. I've never really seen it happen on anything else. I'm not sure if I am actually the only one that's ever done it or not, but I'm going to continue to make this mistake, or actually an innovation, I suppose. The pivots that I machine them on a fixture, and it just drops into a hole and clamps down, and then it machines from the center line all the way around. I actually offset these a couple thou, and it was by mistake in programming, and it wasn't a big deal. It was like 2 thousandths that it was off on one side, so it would just barely kiss off on this side, and it would take 2 thou off this side. Wasn't a big deal. The tolerance on the head of this is not a big deal. It's usually, I oversized the hole a couple thou anyway, so it worked out perfectly. But it just so happened that I offset, or well, I shouldn't say offset. When I put the plate on my fixture, I actually canted it a couple thousandths, and it actually matched the eccentricity. I don't even know if that's a word. It's eccentric. So this hole is also eccentric. Well, before, if this was eccentric and this was round, it was 2 thou oversized, it just slid in and it would still spin. Well, now that they're both eccentric, they match up, and let me, if I can zoom in, okay, it won't drop in until you get to that point, and then it drops in. Then you can't spin it anymore. So it allows to make a nice solid slip fit hole when you ream that hole, but it also allows you to put that pivot in there, and no matter what now, no matter how hard you turn on that, unless you use a pair of pliers or something, that pivot will not turn. But it doesn't have to be press fit, so it's easy to take apart and pop back together. You just spin the pivot a little until it slides in, and voila. Now you have a pivot that will never spin in the frame. The tolerance on that is like 2-3 thousandths max. So I'm going to continue to try to do that. I got to change some programming to adjust that, fix my drawings and stuff, but I'm going to start doing this a little more often. It's always a good thing when you make a mistake and it actually works out for your benefit, which doesn't happen all the time around here, so it was kind of nice. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. So I think that's a Hoback exclusive. I don't know for sure, but I don't see anybody else making eccentric pivot heads so that they don't spin. I thought it was pretty neat. Saves from having to drill a hole and tap or press fit in a stud that keeps it from spinning. I considered, hopefully you can see this, there's a little notch around each one of these little divots. I considered drilling a hole in the frame right next to that hole and press fitting in like a 3/32 pin, like a dowel pin, and then you just drop it in and it would prevent it from spinning. But I thought this was a little more elegant. You can't see the offset by eye, it's really not visible at all. But it's just enough that it prevents the pivot from being able to spin. So, thought you guys would like to see that. Backspacers. Managed to get 12 wide on these ones. Probably could have squeaked 13 in there, but I didn't want to risk it. These ones are for A8s. Gonna swap over to A15s. And then the leftover I'll have to do individual programming for a couple of extras. Really should have bought a bigger plate of tie here for the backspacers, but it worked out pretty well. Let me pull one out here. Just hit these on the disc sander real quick and countersunk the holes a little, or chamfer the edges of the holes, just clean them up. But they turned out nice. So, on to the rest of them. Alright, so in an effort to become a bit more organized, you'll see that I've always used these little totes. They work pretty good, but I'm going to be changing over to a drawer system underneath my benches. But I've got 12 of the backspacers done for the A8s right now. I got to run the other 3, but I didn't have enough room in my X-axis to run them, so I'm going to run them a different direction. So I'm waiting for the A15s to run the same direction, and then I'll do the remainders for both the A8s and the A15s. I'll just switch them horizontally so I can run them on the remainder of the material that I have. So right now I'll just show you the process of putting them together. I've run through already and deburred the holes manually, and then scraped everything, made sure I got most of the major burrs off, and then I just ground the tabs off real quick. You can still see a little bit left there, and then I just threw the whole lot in a tumbler for a couple hours just to smooth the edges, because I mean, this stuff is really sharp when it comes off the mill. I just do that so I don't cut my freaking fingers all the time. And then basically all I'm going to do is just go through and assemble them real quick. I'll grind the screws to size and then profile around the outside. I may have to stop here because I think my battery's low, but we'll go from there. Okay, well, I got the battery back up and going. Took an hour to get it. Just ordered some new batteries because that gets annoying when I'm filming for you guys. So I just went through in that meantime, deburred all the edges. I always go through and take the Dremel tool and clean up just the edges of these holes so they're not sharp on the edges, and then Dremel the edges of the jimping so it's not sharp. Tumbling takes care of the inside, not that you'll ever have your hands in there anyway, but either way. So I just clean all that up and then bolt them together, and like so. Now they're bolted together, what I do is I'll toss a pivot in here. That'll align the halve up here, and then I'll bolt the backspacer together, put a stop in, put a pivot, then bolt the backspacer. Everything's aligned, and then I'll rough grind the outside. Make sure everything's all aligned properly. So it works pretty good. So we'll do that. Yeah. And as you can see, I'm trying to figure out how to fit these on here. I think I'd be alright, but who knows. I'm going to have to fiddle around with this. It's going to be difficult to put a machine A8 on here, but it fits. It's just going to be hard to fixture it. I might have to build a custom fixture for it, so who knows. Should be entertaining. So yeah, I'll get back with you. Well, I've been messing around with this for a couple minutes, just trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to do it. Spent the last 20 minutes or so on the arbor press straightening it because it was bowed like a banana. About 40 thousandths bow to it across its surface. So I got it reasonably flat. It's going to be kind of a bear to machine because I've got upwards of about 10 thousandths to about 10 thousandths difference in several areas. It's not very particularly flat or parallel, which is kind of to be expected from a forged bar. Looks like it was machined on one side with a fly cutter, or actually on both sides, and then went through on the sides with an M mill or something, maybe a corncob cutter, I'm not sure. So I think I'm going to have to take this over to the surface grinder and try to knock it flat. Hardest part about that is that I'm trying to make a backspacer out of this also. So I'm going to run into an issue because my backspacers need to be 112 thousandths thick for 3/16 blade. And this stuff's probably going to dress out to about 190. I'll probably end up, it'll probably dress to 3/16 exactly, 1/875, because it's got enough of it that it's going to be a little bit of a bear to get it flat. So that kind of sucks because I got to figure out how to put a backspacer in there. I can fit it. I figured out how to fit it in here. Hopefully you guys see this. Let me check. Kinda. Yeah, let me give you a little better view. There you go. I can fit all this on here and include some bolt holes because I have to bolt this down to the fixture, or at least clamp it. I'll probably do a bridge clamp on the last 1/8 inch of material, and then more than likely I will machine the frames with a bridge clamp in between them, flip it, machine the other sides, and they'll be tabbed in, and then I'll flip it back over, pull the center bridge clamp, drill the holes for the backspacer deep enough into my fixture that I can tap the holes, and then throw a couple 440 screws in here, and hopefully that'll be enough to machine the outside if I'm real careful with a light depth of cut. It's gonna be a bit of a bear. And then from there, I guess necessity is the mother of all invention. I'm gonna have to figure out probably a spacer of some sort on both sides of the backspacer so that it's the proper thickness. So yeah, I'll have to figure that out. Might be a little bit of a pain, but that'll be fun. It'll be interesting. I always like a challenge. So yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. I'll keep you in tune.